to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
That is correct. We are loud, live, and local every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. Many ways to listen to us. You're probably listening on FM 96.9 The Game, or maybe AM 740, or perhaps HD Radio 101.1-2, or maybe you're on social media watching us live and in color. You can do that by going to YouTube, searching for the Open Mic live stream, and there we are. You'll see me. I have a Band-Aid on my face. I cut my face shaving this morning, so I've got this ugly Band-Aid on my face. That's okay. I'm ugly anyway. Can't get much uglier than I already am. Who am I? I'm Mike. Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect. He joins us as always. Executive producer Kelly Velez, whom you nicknamed the smooth operator. He's right there as well.
Well, we in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting closer to Friday. All right, Mike, I'm very excited.
We have some Monkeys tickets to give away. Kelly's going to give those away later as well. Hey, we're the Monkeys.
Hey.
When are the Monkeys coming to Orlando? When is that?
Say it again?
Is that when are the Monkeys actually playing in Orlando? I'd like to go to that show.
Oh, listen. And by the way, somebody asked yesterday if we can get you over there. I said we're going to have to see if we can do it, get you on stage, Mike. It's going down October 10th at the Hard Rock Live.
Oh, so it's October 10th. Okay, I thought it maybe was this weekend or something.
No, it's a ways away.
So I have some time to plan for the Monkeys. Kelly Velez didn't know who the Monkeys were. Adam Reardon, you knew who the Monkeys were.
Yes, yeah, I remember the Monkeys. Didn't the Monkeys do a couple of guest appearances on like Scooby-Doo or?
Oh yeah, the Monkeys.
Yeah.
I think yeah, and plus they had their own show back in the day. You know,
So that's probably where the crossover came from.
Yeah, that's how they became famous. They weren't actually a real band. They were a TV band who became a real band after they had their TV show. Sort of like the Partridge Family a little bit.
I might have had the aluminum lunchbox.
The Monkeys aluminum lunchbox, folks.
By the way, is Davy Jones the heartthrob of the Monkeys back in the day? Is he still with us, or has he gone to that great concert hall in the sky? Davy Jones. Anyway, all right, we want to hear from you throughout the course of the show. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game, or you can text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. First chance at $1,000. We do it 3 times a day, but your first chance is 7:10 a.m. this morning. Make an appointment for that. Listen for the keyword and then take the directions from there. We like to begin every day with our open mic inspirational early morning quote of the day. This comes from the great Mary Lou Retton. Quote, optimism is a happiness magnet. If you stay positive, good things and good people will be drawn to you. End quote. Intellect.
Yeah, that's a pretty straightforward one. Optimism is a happiness magnet. Is that what she said?
Yeah, happiness magnet.
Yeah. If you're optimistic, if you believe positive things are going to happen, then you are going to draw positive people around you, and positive people tend to make positive things happen. So, makes sense.
Yeah. Sort of like when you sit down at the blackjack table, and we're going to get into sports betting being ratified in the state of Florida. When you sit down at the blackjack table, you want to sit down there like, I'm on a roll. When you sit down at that table, you want to sit down with the thought, I'm on a roll, because those positive vibes help you at the blackjack table, don't they, Adam Reardon?
Well, there's no question. You don't want to sit next to a guy. I mean, you sit down and the dealer's shuffling and he's asking you to cut the cards, and the guy sitting next to you goes, man, I never win. I've never been at a table where guys win money. And you're like, no, we're not doing that today.
You're like, get away from me then. Go to the other table.
Why do you keep showing up to tables?
All right, let's start with all of you LeBron bashers out there. You're going to have to live with him and the hated Lakers at least through one round of the playoffs. King James persevered through an injured ankle last night. He persevered through a big first half deficit. He persevered being poked in the eye late in the fourth quarter, and he added another highlight to his impressive resume. The King made a long go-ahead three-pointer with 58.2 seconds left to help the Lakers rally to a 103-100 victory over Steph Curry and the Warriors in a Western Conference play-in game. Give me some highlights from last night.
Curry with Schroeder, dribbles around Davis, now dribbles around Caruso, step back, takes a deep three left side, got it at the buzzer, Curry, knocked it down. Degree of difficulty off the charts.
Shot clock at 6, James looking to get a running start, now pass to Caruso, Caruso on the drive, inside, Davis for the slam. Lakers back up 2 with a minute and a half to play. They get it to Caldwell Pope, almost lost it, shot clock at 7. James, 2 defenders on him to Caldwell Pope inside. He's tied up by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the 3. Oh, it's gone! LeBron James from downtown as the shot clock expires. A desperation heave, and the Lakers are up 3.
Well, the first thing I did when KCP kicked it out, I looked at the shot clock. I saw it was I had to get it up, at least get up on the rim. Second thing I saw was 3 rims, from being poked in the eye on that previous possession when I drove to the hole and then in transition. So I just aimed for the middle one. I practice enough, I work on, my game, and I was able to do the man above and through a lot of practice, I was able to drain it.
What a shot it was. What a shot.
He's so lucky, man.
That wasn't luck.
He just said he saw 3 rims and he aimed at the middle
rims. One. Yeah, that's what all the drunk guys always say. I can't see 3, so I just aim for the middle. Yeah. Hey, say what you will about LeBron James. That was the longest shot he's hit this year. Ironically, it came against the Warriors and Steph Curry, who's known for hitting shots from way out. How far was that shot? I think I saw it was like 34 feet away.
If that, probably more.
34 feet away. LeBron James hits a clutch shot. And again, he's not going to win MVP, but Adam Reardon says it best, and he says it often. LeBron James should be the MVP every year.
He has said that.
No, there's no question. I mean, think about LeBron. Every team without LeBron. Here's how I know how LeBron's the greatest MVP of all time. The Cavs pick first because they're so bad. They get LeBron. Guess where they go the very next year? The playoffs. I mean, it took teams to the NBA Finals 10 years straight, something ridiculous like that. And then when he leaves the team, guess what they get to do next year? Count ping pong balls. That's how important that guy is. And listen, with Anthony Davis is a great player, but if LeBron retires tomorrow, guess what the Lakers are doing next year? Counting ping pong balls. I know that because that's what they used to do in New Orleans when Anthony Davis was there. Count ping pong balls.
Listen, and keep in mind, right. People forget, even though he hit that shot, it was so poetic, especially hitting it in Steph Curry's face, right? Out of all people. But also, he had a triple-double last night as well. He did it on
absolutely. He did. I think that was his 6th triple-double of the year. Steph Curry, by the way, had 37 points. LeBron had 22, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. The Lakers advance into the playoffs now to play number 2 seeded Phoenix. That starts this weekend. The Warriors will host the Grizzlies on Friday night in another play-in game to see who advances into the playoffs as the 8th seed against top seeded Utah. The Grizzlies beat the Spurs last night 100-96 in the other play-in game that nobody really cares about. All right? Because everybody's talking about the Warriors and the Lakers and LeBron. And I got to tell you, I hate the Lakers. I really do. We talked about this yesterday. Adam, you weren't there. I think the Lakers, all the Lakers hate. There are a lot of people who hate the Lakers because of, just because they've been a dynasty for so long. And, they've won as many NBA titles as everybody but the Celtics. I think they're tied with the Celtics. So people hate dynasties. I hate the Lakers. I don't like the way the Lakers do business. They buy championships. They don't build them. But when you combine all the Lakers hate with all the LeBron hate out there, I think the Lakers are the most hated franchise in sports. Over the Yankees, over the Cowboys, over the Patriots, over, who am I missing? Duke basketball. We've got a poll up about this as well. Who's the most hated team in all of sports? Does anybody disagree? I mean, it used to be the Yankees. I don't think it's the Yankees anymore. I think it's the Lakers. Anyone?
Yeah, no, I think that the way you put it, the Lakers are sort of the at least in my generation, the team that had the most success. And you're right, the way that they've done things in the past. If you're
they steal their championships away from other franchises like Shaq.
To be
LeBron,
fair, the first one
and Kareem,
the first one I remember,
and Wilt.
The first one I remember them winning. Kareem was on the team, but remember he was unavailable, and it was a drafted rookie, Magic Johnson, that had to play center. So so they won an NBA title with their guys, and not necessarily Kareem out there, the hired gun, if you will. But for the most part, you're correct. I mean, when you start throwing out Shaq and they did have to trade Vlade Divac to get Kobe, so they had to give something up.
Oh, wow. Yeah. All right, we're going to get into all the sports happenings. A lot of news yesterday. Sports betting ratified in the state of Florida. Another no-hitter in baseball. The SEC turns on the money faucet. Once again, we're going to get to all that coming up. We also have a spontaneous text question coming your way that has to do with sports betting in the state of Florida. That's next on Open Mic.
Whether you're drinking your morning coffee
Here's the 0-1. Calhoun is swinging a ground ball right to Torres. Over to first. The ball game's over. Corey Kluber has thrown a no-hitter. The Yankees stream out of the third base dugout and mob their right-hander between the mound and the first base line.
Yawn. Ho-hum. Another no-hitter in Major League Baseball.
I feel like when we speak about certain things on this show, Mike, they happen. Like we had this whole conversation about no-hitters and how like
yesterday.
Let's talk about me hitting the lottery while we're at it.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we had this conversation about no-hitters yesterday when another no-hitter was pitched the night before. All right. Corey Kluber. This time, though, at least it has a local angle. Stetson alum Corey Kluber throws a no-hitter, the sixth no-hitter of the season, the second in 2 nights as the Yankees beat the Rangers 2-0 last night. Kluber, of course, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Again, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball for a long time. What was it? What night was last night? Last night was Wednesday night. So on Tuesday night, there was another no-hitter pitch. That was the 5th no-hitter in Major League Baseball. Who pitched that one? The Tigers guy, Turnbull. Spencer Turnbull.
Yeah.
He threw the no-no against the Seattle Mariners, and that was the 5th no-hitter. By the way, this is the first time we've had no-hitters on consecutive days since 1969. We talked about yesterday all the offensive numbers being down in Major League Baseball, down to historic levels, and how concerned baseball will be or should be about that. Last time offensive numbers were this low in Major League Baseball was in 1968, and they lowered the mound. They were so concerned. They lowered the pitcher's mound in 1968 because the offensive numbers had become so bad. I'm wondering if they will do something after this season to sort of, get offense back up because the pitchers are throwing harder than they ever have. The hitters aren't juiced like they used to be. The hitters are striking out more, which means they're swinging for the fences more. So again, it's an issue in Major League Baseball. Does anybody disagree with that?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. Let me ask you this, because I had a chance to listen as I was driving to where I was going yesterday, and you guys were discussing this, and I hear you mention like the numbers are down. What about home run numbers? Where are home run numbers at compared historically?
I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't know. I just know batting average is down. Right. Strikeouts are way up. I'm not sure where the home run numbers are.
So let me assume, and I guess as I think Kelly's looking it up right now, but let's assume that home run numbers aren't historically bad, right? Does this just tell us that the analytics over the last 3 to 5 years has been telling, baseball execs the way to win baseball games is for, play for the home run? I mean, this isn't the, get your leadoff guy on base, get him to steal second base, sacrifice, fly him over, then...
Well, scoring is way down. Runs. So it's not.
Well, but
so it's not the best way.
Well, but over the last couple of years, it was working, and it may be something that the ebbs and flows of these things, that as now you have more players swinging for the fence, every player now, all 9 guys in your lineup are trying to hit home runs. Batting average is down, scoring is down, and then these pitching numbers are going to go up. So I'm curious. Kelly, did you find a number on home runs?
Looking right now, I see a couple numbers, but none that I'm confident to say on air.
It says home runs in April 2021. This is, again, I'm reading from some blog. I don't know how accurate it is. Home runs in April 2021, which is essentially now. All right, we're in May now. We're down compared to 2019 at the difference of 0.45 percentage points.
So nothing.
Raw home run totals are at their lowest levels since April 2017. So as of April, I guess the home run numbers were down.
Yeah, but if it's down 0.04%, I mean that's not a whole bunch. So that my assumption is that as more players swing for the fence, guess what's going to happen? more players are going to strike out. And if you got a pitcher that's on, then you get a bunch of guys striking out. Then I mean, you're almost halfway to a no hitter. Yeah, because they can't put the bat on the ball.
All right. We do have a supplemental poll on this as well. What is the supplemental poll on this? Was Stetson alum Corey Kluber of the Yankees throwing the Major League 6 no-hitter this season? The second and 2 nights are no-nos losing their luster? Yes, I think they are. We have a bunch of polls up. You can go vote at 96.9 The Game. One of the polls is this, all right? And we've talked about this over the last few weeks. Sports betting in the state of Florida. Well, it could soon be legal as of yesterday because the state legislature ratified a landmark sweeping 30-year gambling deal between Governor Ron DeSantis and the Seminole Tribe of Florida. The Florida House approved the deal that could bring in an average of $500 million a year in new revenue to the state of Florida. No telling how much the Seminole Tribe is going to make on this. The Seminole Tribe essentially has a monopoly on sports betting in the state of Florida now as of yesterday. Now, there are a lot of opponents to this deal. It still has to pass the sort of the federal government's sniff test as well. There's going to be some lawsuits because there are opponents to the deal, anti-gambling lawsuits. So, again, it's not for sure yet, all right? But if everything goes according to plan, as of October 15th, sports betting will be legal in the state of Florida. And that brings us to our spontaneous text question.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
Okay, first of all, I want to know if sports betting is legal, will you bet on sports as of October 15th? That's a question. We have a poll question about that. But here's what I want. I want a long shot sports bet. A long shot sports bet that you think could happen, that you would bet on. Let's make it the next calendar year, all right? The next calendar year, a long shot sports bet that you would bet on. Like I came up. I've got 4 right here. You ready for these? All right. Number 1, Mackenzie Milton leads FSU to a victory over Notre Dame in the season opener to complete one of the greatest comeback stories in college football history. Would you bet on that? Long shot bet? Got
if he starts.
Big odds?
Yeah, long shot, sure.
Yeah. What about this one? Dylan Gabriel wins the Heisman Trophy in his first year running new UCF coach Gus Malzahn's offense. Would you bet on that?
I mean, guys like Andre Ware have won the Heisman Trophy from smaller schools, so it's possible. You get good odds.
Okay, what about this one? New Gator quarterback Emory Jones leads Florida to an early season victory over Alabama, propelling Dan Mullen's team to an undefeated season and a national championship.
Yeah, Florida's never gone undefeated, so I'd go against that.
All right, and here is the longest of the long shot bets I've come up with. Magic finish only 2 games below 500.
That one I would bet on.
No way am I betting on that. Hell no. They're at least 10 to 15 below 500 next year.
Hey, Cade Cunningham.
Anyway, text in your long shot bets you would bet on 50857. Adam, your thoughts on sports betting being ratified yesterday?
Again, I've not looked through all the pages. All I know is this, that sports betting is something that I think is something that if an adult decides they want to bet $50 on their favorite college football team every Saturday, they should be allowed to do. The only thing I would ask is, hey, Ron, and all you folks that are about to vote on this and push this thing through, can we squeeze online poker back in there? I remember the good old days of online poker, and then 9/11 happened, and somehow, some way, Bush and his buddies connected that to terrorism, and I ain't been able to play, PokerStars.com since then.
You can't play online poker anymore?
In like 3 different states in this country, you can, but I can't because I live in a state that is not for that sort of activity.
Yeah, interesting. Probably because of the Seminole tribe. They want a cut of that as well.
Oh, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care who gets a cut. I just want to be able to play for the comfy confines of my office.
All right, go vote on all of our polls at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. Up next, the Magic must give Coach Steve Clifford a contract extension. Our spontaneous text question: was sports betting close to being legalized in Florida after Wednesday's ratification by the legislature? Give us a long shot bet you think could happen in the next year. Text those in the 50857. We will read the best ones, maybe starting next segment. So stay tuned for that. All right. As I wrote in my column in the Orlando Sentinel, which you can still read right now at orlandosentinel.com.
Cheap plug.
If you want, thank you. The Magic need to give Coach Steve Clifford an extension. He has 1 year remaining on his contract, and you certainly don't want to go into another rebuild with a lame duck coach. I asked Magic team president Jeff Weltman the question yesterday about the extension, and he didn't really answer it. Here's what he said.
Well, Mike, I'm sorry. The first part's going to be an easy answer. I won't discuss that publicly. I will not discuss contract matters with players or coaches or anything publicly. Team policy, I hope you understand, why that has to be the case. I can tell you that, Cliff and I had a nice talk, yesterday, but honestly, all of our guys, all of them, performance, players, coaches, the message is this: get out, go away. We're actually having our court varnished for the next week and a half. So
okay, that's good.
And whatnot, we will.
That's good. Yeah. So again, it's understandable. I don't think it really means anything that he doesn't want to discuss contracts publicly until they're actually signed or until everybody agrees to the terms. And he actually explained later that he thinks Clifford and his staff have done a really good job. In fact, Jamie Say, WKMG, she asked a question yesterday about, to evaluate, the thought. She asked Jeff Weltman essentially his thoughts on the performance of Clifford and the coaching staff. And Weltman almost sounded apologetic about saddling Clifford with a rebuild in the middle of the season that was already in progress. Here's what he said.
I can't thank those guys enough, and I can't tell you what a good job I think they did. I have to say, when we were discussing these internally, when we were discussing these trades, and we had discussions everywhere across the board with every sort of agenda lined up, and as we always must. And one of the things that we discussed was it's not the right time to do this. These sorts of kind of like organizational shifts should not be done mid-season. It's not fair to the coaches. It's not fair to, some of the players that remain, and it's not conducive to a real smooth transition to, another phase of your operations. And so, look, what do you do as a coach when all of a sudden, your roster changes, your agendas change, your goals change? What can I say? They've done an amazing job. I think you see it in the development.
Okay, there you go. There you go. So again, it sounds to me like they are all on board with Clifford and his staff getting an extension. Again, I think they should. Nobody in their right mind could blame Clifford for this miserable, injury-ravaged, COVID-cursed season, the roster overhaul, the ensuing tank job. Again, I think Clifford is absolutely the right coach to lead the Magic through, the next rebuild. Obviously, these are uncertain times. This is an untested roster. He's considered by many to be an excellent teacher and developer of talent. And again, he was hired 3 years ago with a different mission. He took over a awful franchise, and the edict then was to get a sad sack team back into the postseason after 6 years of not being in the postseason. He accomplished that feat in his first season. Magic went back to the playoffs again the following season, and now the mission has changed. Now the mission is to take a bunch of young players and mold them and mentor them and tutor them, all of that stuff. All right, develop them, all of that. And it's going to take longer than the 1 year he has left on his contract. In fact, Adam Reardon, tell me if you agree with this. Jeff Weltman and John Hammond, the president of basketball operations and the GM, they also only have 1 year left on their contracts. So the coach, the president, and the GM all have 1 year left on their contract. If you're going to trust Weltman and Hammond to overhaul the roster, to trade Nick Vucevic, to conduct one of the most important drafts in history, don't you need to trust them enough to give them time to see if their handiwork actually works? Shouldn't they get contract extensions too?
Those two guys will get extensions before Clifford, right? In your mind?
Well, they're the ones who would actually give. Alex Martins would have to give those two their extensions, whereas Jeff Weltman would be the one to give Clifford his extension.
Well, so here's maybe I was listening to his comments differently than you.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like he's in the I'm committed to Steve Clifford business.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No.
I thought he was.
No.
I thought he definitely.
No.
What made you think that?
So, and I only got to listen to that clip there. At any point, did he say, we hope he's here for the next 10 years? Did he say,
See, but they don't say that in the NBA.
In the NBA, they don't use
say that in the
verbiage.
NBA.
I'm just saying, it kind of wasn't fair. And then he followed that up off the air by saying, but my parents told me life's not fair that he got saddled with the rebuild. Okay. Is Steve Clifford, has he gotten the reputation as that coach? The guy who can coach a bunch of sad sack guys and get them really fired up defensively and kind of get the most out of the least, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's his reputation.
Right. But then if you get like a roster with the most, do you think that guy can coach that? I mean, do you trust that guy who coaches a certain style has success doing one thing? It's sort of like a JV coach versus and I don't mean this disrespectfully, and I'm just trying to maybe make a little bit of an analogy. The JV coach who's really got to teach the fundamentals and that kind of stuff.
I got you.
Maybe if this team ends up with all of its players back and healthy, successful players, and then they have to manage the locker room. A lot of times, Frank Vogel's a different coach with the LA Lakers than he is with the Orlando Magic, clearly. Maybe Steve Clifford's not that guy who can coach / manage a locker room full of talented players.
Well, he doesn't have that right now.
Doesn't have that right now. But after this draft, if you end up with a very positive, favorable draw with the ping pong balls, you could end up with two really good rookies here, and then you can end up with I'm going to say Chris Isaac, the singer, Jonathan Isaac back, Markelle Fultz back, and start to move in this direction where you got a lot of guys now who want the ball.
You got a lot of guys, but you still don't have again.
If you get the number one pick in the draft,
it's not like you got LeBron and Anthony Davis in your locker room. You have a bunch of young guys who haven't proven anything. They're still unproven guys.
I get that, but you could end up with the number one overall pick and the consensus, essentially the consensus number one overall pick in Cade Cunningham. So you could have something like that's my question. If they believe that, listen, we think that Steve Clifford's the guy for the job with these young guys and the guys that these 10-day roster guys that we've had all off season, and we've seen what he could do with a Vooch, which is get to the playoffs and win one game. Do we think that the next level up is Steve Clifford? I think that's a question that should be asked, and it's probably being asked behind closed doors, because I didn't hear that guy say, listen, Mike, I'm not going to discuss contracts. It's not what we do, but we certainly hope the guy's here forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have taken that, and I didn't hear that, and maybe you heard it, and we don't have the clip to it. But
no, I mean we pretty much played the clip that I think they did a great job this season. We saddled them with an unfair situation. Yeah, but no, that was pretty much the gist of what he said. We will continue this conversation as the show progresses. Also coming up, I want to get more into the sports betting story. And also there's a college football story I want to get to as well. The SEC has opened up the money faucet once again. That's next on Open Mic.
96.9, The Game.
James, 2 defenders on him to Caldwell Pope inside. He's tied up by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the 3. Oh, it's gone! LeBron James from downtown as the shot clock expires. A desperation heave, and the Lakers are up 3.
It wasn't a desperation heave. He hit a 34-foot jump shot.
Wait. How wasn't it a desperation heave?
I mean, the time was running out, but it's not like he was falling out of bounds and just threw up some prayer. I mean, he took aim, fired, and hit the shot over the defender.
Yes, desperation.
Not just the defender. That was Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Curry.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't consider that a Was it a end of the shot clock 3-pointer? Yeah, but desperation to me makes it sound like it was a lucky shot.
Well, it was the word heave that bothers me. Heave sounds like
it wasn't a heave. It wasn't a heave.
Threw it up there. No, that was
it was a clear shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a dagger is what it was.
Yeah.
It's the last second dagger. Last shot clock dagger. It wasn't last second. It was 58 seconds left in the game.
Last minute. We got to make it sound real good.
There you go.
Last minute dagger. Yeah. So anyway, we do have a supplemental poll up about LeBron James and the Lakers. Among the Lakers, Yankees, Patriots, and Duke, which is the most hated team in all of sports? Those are the 4 I came up with. Did I leave anybody out? Maybe the Patriots would have been involved. But since Brady's gone.
I think the Pats up there within the past couple of years since that cheating scandal. I think the Stros are up there as well.
The Astros would have been a good one. Yeah.
Listening to Mike yesterday, I put the Louisville basketball program up there. My God.
Louisville cheating again.
I was like driving and I'm going, Mike sounds more upset about this team using grad assistants to fill out its practice roster than a guy extorting people. He's like, extortion. Oh, what?
He's just trying to get a little extra severance is all he was trying to get.
Mike's like, extortion, no big deal. Using that grad assistant for basketball, give him the chair.
He said, why is it illegal?
Why is it? I still don't understand. I mean, it's not like you have to pay the guy. Listen, you can just let him release the information, which is I think what Louisville did. I think that's how the plot was foiled. I think Louisville said, "Go ahead." Like the NCAA doesn't know we're cheaters anyway.
All I know is I don't want Mike Bianchi on my parole board. Like, hey, listen, you served 15 years for your crime. We're going to go ahead and let you out. And then like 3 weeks later, you get a speeding ticket. You know the rules. Get back in here.
Right.
Get back in here.
Keep your nose clean. Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're coming off the Rick Pitino hookers in the dorm scandal. Good grief.
Rick said Iona killing recruiting, by the way.
Yeah. All right, our spontaneous text question with sports betting close to being legalized in Florida. We want a long shot sports bet that you would bet on in the next year. Text those in 50857. I read some of mine earlier. All right, here's some that people are putting in. I put a few dollars on Orlando City to win the MLS Cup each year. Seems the likelihood of the bet cashing in is finally getting higher. Yeah, that's not really a long shot. Not really a long shot. What about this one? Long shot bet Tebow catching a TD pass in the Jags playoff game. Yeah. Yeah.
We had a caller calling earlier, by the way. He said his long shot is that Tebow actually switches over to QB and scores at least 10 touchdowns this coming season.
Maybe on 4th and 1 at the goal line, they'll put him in at QB. I don't know. Long shot bet Cleveland Browns win the Super Bowl. Not really such a long shot anymore. My long shot bet, somebody texted in, would be that due to prolific losing, USF is forced to shut down their football program. That's not going to happen. You wouldn't bet on that.
Prolific losing.
Here you go.
Here's one I might bet on. Tampa Bay Buccaneers achieve the perfect season.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. Maybe the longest odds we'll have. Okay, and I mean, this is one of those ones you just put $50 down, and if it hits, then you can like back the truck up, beep beep, until load it in. Logan Paul beats Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Oh man!
Wow. Not gonna happen. I'm just saying, if you're gonna put $50 down to go scoop up, I don't know, 20 grand.
What about this one? Patriots beat the Bucks week 4. Could happen. Anything can happen in the NFL. We know that. So real quick, Adam, I played golf over the weekend, and Pat Dooley has a the Bob Dooley Invitational in honor of his dad, who passed away recently. It's a charity tournament, raises money for children's cancer research, and he does it every year up in Gainesville. So I played over the weekend, and your boy Judd Davis was in the tournament, and every closest to the pin stake we came across, I think Judd Davis's name was at the top of it. How much golf does this guy play?
A lot. Listen, playing with Judd Davis is the greatest thing that ever. So whenever we'd have these celebrity or pro-am tournaments that we play in, or
Judd Davis, by the way, former Gator kicker back in the day. He was a hell of a kicker as well. But go ahead.
It's sort of like when you're president, you always say president forever. He's Lou Groza Award winner. Judd Davis.
Did he win the Lou Groza?
Oh, yes,
he did.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. He told me every time I talk about him, I have to lead with, Lou Groza Award winner. Playing with him, and I've played a lot of rounds of golf with Judd Davis, is the greatest thing that's ever happened to my golf game. He gave me the single greatest piece of advice for anybody who slices the ball ever,
What?
Okay, do you slice the ball, Mike? Do you hit it and it goes left and then goes to the right, bends to the right?
Yeah, I've got a big banana ball slice. Yeah.
So did I, until Judd Davis fixed it with one piece of advice.
What?
Hit it down the first baseline.
Hit it down the first baseline.
Yep.
Aha.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it keeps your hands extended so you don't pull your hands in. You end up trying to, you're right-handed, right?
No, I'm left-handed, so I'd hit it down the third baseline.
Yes, okay, so yeah, I'm glad we cleared that up. Otherwise, you just killed this guy over here. Oh, my God. Well, Adam Reardon told me hit it down the first baseline. No, then for you, it's hit it down the third baseline. You want to, hit it the opposite way. And I'm telling you, I'll never forget we were playing Ocala Muni, and I'm slicing balls. Actually, there's a hole that's right next to the road. And I hit like 2 balls into the road, right? Cars are like swerving, hitting houses and stuff. And he's like, dude, just hit it down the first baseline. And I smoked a drive. It's just so straight right down the middle. It changed my life. It changed my golf life. Wow. Changed my golfing life. Not my life in general. I didn't go home and I wasn't a better human being. But I promise you this, the day I left that golf course, I was a better golfer. And Judd Davis hits it where he wants, when he wants. Okay, he's the Dom Dwyer of golf. Of amateur golf.
Judd Davis. Also saw old Gator punter Shane Edge was in the tournament as well.
By the way, it was Doring's birthday yesterday. I wasn't here yesterday, so happy birthday, Chris Doring, yesterday.
I wanted to ask you something about Chris Doring. All right, I talked to Chris Doring over the weekend. He's sort of heading up some new award in college football named after Steve Spurrier, which we'll tell you about once it's finalized. But how long did Doring play in the NFL? 10 years?
10 years.
Okay. So the reason I thought of this is Jeff Driscoll, the former Gator quarterback, he's been a journeyman backup in the NFL for a bunch of years now. He just signed a new deal, a 1-year deal worth up to $2.5 million with the Houston Texans, all right? So I don't know how long Driscoll's been in the league, but he was with the Bengals for a while. He was with the Broncos for a little bit. But he's essentially in the league every year on 1-year contracts, making, I don't know, whatever the league minimum is, or $500,000. Sometimes it's $1 million. Anyway, if you stay in the league for 10 years as a journeyman, as Chris Doring did, as Jeff Driscoll did, and as Shane Matthews did, if you manage your money right, can you retire? If you're never signing the big contract, but could you retire if you managed your money right? If you were in the NFL for 10 years as a journeyman?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you manage your money, like if you bought Bitcoin when it was $500, sure. I mean,
No. I'm just talking about if you just invested it like a normal person.
All right, so let's say that the league minimum on average for Chris is probably around $300,000 a year, right?
Okay.
In the league for 10 years, that's $3 million before taxes.
Yeah, before tax.
So I mean, what are you talking about? 1.5 million? And then of that 1.5, over that 10 years, you had to pay for your house and everything like that too. So now you're down to probably about less than $1 million. Maybe
say 750,000.
Yeah. No, you're not retiring with 750,000.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, no. We did that. So we solved that quick. Unless you invested that $750,000 in Bitcoin when it's $500, then you retire.
Or you'd have 750,000 in the bank. I could live for 10 or 15 years on that, right?
Yeah, back in Interlaken.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll last you forever.
75,000 a year for 10 years. I could easily live on that.
Me too.
I do now.
Me too.
All right. Wanted to get to this story. Speaking of money, the SEC opened up the money faucets again yesterday. So here's what they did. The SEC, because, during the pandemic, a lot of their schools, including the Florida Gators and their 13 other member schools. Did we pause for station identification yet?
We did not.
Let's do that right now.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
Okay, so the Gators and the 13 other member schools in the SEC, the Southeastern Conference yesterday gave them all $23 million in cash to offset the massive financial losses sustained during the COVID pandemic. In the Gators case, I'm reading Edgar Thompson's story in the Orlando Sentinel. The price tag was about $60 million in lost revenues during the fall, with ticket sales being down, obviously, booster contributions being down. So the SEC announced yesterday that the league is financing the $322 million distribution to all of its schools through future earnings on a lucrative media rights deal with ESPN that begins in 2024. So the SEC is essentially saying, okay, we're gonna mortgage a little bit of this media rights deal, and we're gonna give you guys all $23 million to sort of tide you over after the pandemic. All right. So again, does any other league are the other leagues gonna do this? Or how jealous, if you're an ACC member or if you're a Big 12 member, how jealous are you of the SEC? Because I just think other leagues are like, man, what do we got to do to keep up with these guys, whether it's recruiting, coaches, NFL draft picks? What do we have to – money? I mean, the money essentially, Mark Daniels always talks about SEC athletic directors like Scott Strickland at Florida. They have a faucet at their desk, all right? And whenever they need money, they just turn the faucet on, and boom, all this SEC money pours out of the faucet. How much money is in that faucet, Adam Reardon?
Well, it's a lot of money, and they know that there's more water being loaded into the tank in the very near future. Hence, they can give future monies to these programs. The part I was thinking of is, listen, the money lost by Alabama is infinitely greater than the money lost by Vanderbilt this year, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, Vanderbilt's sitting around getting the same check as...
Yeah, Vanderbilt's getting $23 million. Hey, we didn't lose anything. We got the free $23 million. We had about the same attendance during the pandemic as we did before the pandemic.
They're sitting there scooping up that check going, I love it. And they're like telling Alabama, like, thanks, guys. Thanks, Gators. Love you guys. Awesome. We're here. Yeah. We're here for the academic standards. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Whatever. By the way, this sort of snuck up on us. The PGA Championship teeing off this morning up at the Ocean Course at South Carolina. How do you say it? Is it Kiowa Island? Kiowa Island up in South Carolina? Or Kiowa?
I have no idea. I've never been there.
You say Kiowa, I say Kiowa. You say tomato, I say tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go with Kiowa Island up in South Carolina. All right, give me a pick. Who are you picking in the PGA Championship?
The defending champ is Colin Morikawa, so I will go with, and I got to double check and make sure he's playing, but
he's playing.
Well, no, I don't want him. I want my favorite golfer. I want
Ian Poulter.
Yeah, I'm just saying if he's playing. I don't even know if he's playing. He should be playing.
Well, you can't pick him to win.
Why can't I pick him to win?
When's the last time he won?
I don't know. It's been a while, Mike. It's been a while. So he's due. Yes, Ian Poulter tees off at 153. So we're going with Ian Poulter today. He's due for a victory. He's not won a major yet, and
he's not won a tournament in years, has he?
All right, fine, Mike. All right, fine. I'll go with Tommy Fleetwood. Okay, I'll go with some other British guy.
Tommy Fleetwood. I'm gonna go with. Now, the last time they held the PGA Championship at Kiowa Island, Rory McIlroy won, and he hasn't won a major in what's it been now? We're in 2021. He hasn't won a major since 2014. It's been 7 years since he won a major, and he did win a couple weeks ago at what was that? Was it the Wells Fargo Championship? I think he won.
Yeah.
So he's playing better, but I'm gonna go local. You know how I like to talk local sports, Orlando. All right. I'm gonna go with our local guy to go back to back in the majors. I'm talking about Hideki Matsuyama, right out there in Windermere, Kings Point. He's going to go back-to-back. He's a hero in his home country of Japan now, and he is fired up. He's going to go back-to-back. Hideki Matsuyama is going to win the tournament, all right? And then he'll really be a hero in Japan.
I thought you were going to say Matt Kuchar, and I refuse if anybody asks me for a golf tip to give you Matt Kuchar.
A golf tip?
Yeah,
I get it.
Get it?
Yeah.
Kelly doesn't
I looked over. I was like, I didn't get it.
Kelly didn't get it. He played a golf tournament in Mexico. His caddy couldn't make it, so they give him a local caddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, who knows all the undulations of the greens and everything, all that local knowledge, right? And normally when a golfer wins, 10%, somewhere between 5 and 10%, they give to the caddy, right? Okay. That's normally contractually agreed upon, right? So they're in Mexico. He wins this tournament for like what, $1.1 million or something ridiculous like that, and he tips the caddy $5,000. Like basically like I got $5,000. I got some lint in my pocket and 2 certs.
Yeah,
enjoy.
Yeah, basically was like, hey, I mean, you're in Mexico. $5,000 goes a long way, right, buddy?
My Lord!
As opposed to giving him like 5 to 10%. Yeah, and he got waylaid. Remember, dude?
He got absolutely, and he was one of the most well-liked guys on the tour. Yeah, everybody loved Matt Kuchar. I mean, when he was young, he had that smile that everybody loved.
Yes,
and then that happened, and he's been sort of despised ever since.
I mean, you can like a person, but you never know if they're a cheapskate or not.
It changes the way. It honestly changed the way I looked at Matt Kuchar from this point forward.
Well, and again, Matt Kuchar, yes, that was an example of him being a cheapskate. Obviously, Matt Kuchar, I think he went to Winter Park High School. Anyway, he's from Central Florida. All right, but when Tiger Woods lived in Orlando, he was renowned for being an awful tipper. An awful tipper.
And he never got tipper. How could you be an awful tipper with that kind of money?
That's what everybody thought. Google Tiger Woods right now. Google Tiger Woods and tips or tipper or whatever you would find that under.
They can't all be Ocho Cinco. Okay, I showed my fiance a credit card tab that he had tipped. They had like a $200 lunch, and he tipped the waiter or waitress $500 on the $200. And then at the bottom he wrote, "I'm on a blind date. I think she thinks she's getting lucky." Something like that.
By the way, Mike, I just Googled it. The first article that comes up is "These stingy athletes leave notoriously bad tips."
Yeah, Tiger Woods.
Oh, Scottie Pippen's on there too. They no tippin' Pippen is what they used to call him.
How about this one from the Golf Digest? Tiger Woods is still #1 at being a bad tipper.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
How could you have that much money?
Billionaire.
He probably
a billionaire.
He probably writes on the thing, sorry, Elon got half.
All right, straight ahead. Straight ahead. It is the sound off. We are going to react to the hottest sound of the day. That is next on Open Mic. First, your chance to win $1,000. They're right here.
Now.
Sound Off brought to you by the PGA Championship. It's teeing off right now this morning, but we will have coverage of Sunday's final round, hole-by-hole coverage right here on FM 96.9 The Game and AM 740 starting at 1 p.m. on Sunday. What do we have, young Kelly?
Sound off! Sound off! They get it to Caldwell Pope, almost lost it. Shot clock at 7. James, 2 defenders on him to Caldwell Pope inside. He's tied up by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the 3. Oh, it's gone! LeBron James from downtown as the shot clock expires. A desperation heave, and the Lakers are up 3.
The Lakers were down darn near the whole game, Mike, but LeBron comes out of nowhere with a desperation 3, or like we said, a last-minute
desperation 3.
Yeah,
it was not a desperation heave. It was a dead-eye 34-foot. He took aim. He squared up.
He couldn't see the rim.
He jumped over little Steph Curry like he wasn't even there, okay? Little Steph. Hey, stop. Hey, I'm trying to. Boo. That was Steph's defense. Boo. Trying to scare him, all right? No, you don't scare the king, all right? That was a unbelievable shot for LeBron James. All of you LeBron bashers out there, get used to it, all right? You're going to have to live with him and the hated Lakers at least through one round of the playoffs. The Lakers advance. And I got to tell you, as much as I hate the Lakers, I want the Lakers in the playoffs. I need the Lakers in the playoffs. As I've said many times, I don't want them to win the championship, but I want them in the playoffs at least for a couple rounds just to keep my interest up, because I need somebody to hate. I need somebody to root against in the playoffs, and I hate the Lakers more than any franchise in professional sports. So good for the Lakers for winning that game last night and giving me somebody to root against in the first round of the playoffs.
Sound off! Sound off!
That's going to be crazy. It's going to be pretty epic. I mean, it's definitely going to be emotional for sure, I would say. I just had a great 9 years, probably the best 9 years of my life. It was the beginning of my basically my whole football career there. So it's definitely going to be heartfelt when I go back. And I just got to be prepared for that game for sure. I got to be prepared for every game, but especially that one. It's never going to be easy, and it's going to be tough, but it's going to be a good one. It's going to be different.
Rob Gronkowski talking about playing the Pats once again. Adam, what you think? Are you excited for this?
I'm a little confused at what second-rate show is that guy on, because I know great shows actually get like Rob Gronkowski's great aunt on to discuss playing against his former team. What do we have? The Tom Brady's dad giving us the blow-by-blow on. Well, why are we talking to Rob Gronkowski? Don't we want to hear from his father? So ridiculous. Listen, it's going to be emotional. I mean, those guys both. I mean, their careers.
Nobody's paying attention to Gronk making his return. It's all about Brady.
Listen, those people must have reached out to Brady, got turned down. Brady's dad got turned down. Brady's mom. Right? Anybody in the Brady family tree want to talk to us? No. Okay, well, let's go to Gronk. He's going back there too.
They called the Brady bunch when they were after. Yeah. Let's get the Brady bunch on the line.
Why is it that Gronk, when you hear him talk, he always sounds like he's a little drunk? He's a little loop.
I think that
maybe because he is.
No, I think that is like part of his charm is that he is the quintessential football guy
he's the bro.
Yeah, he just sounds like that. It's funny because I like to, as we're hearing sound off, see if I can place who the person is before I hear necessarily the context of what they're talking about. And it took me like 4 words. I go, oh, that's Gronk.
Sound off!
Now here's the 0-1 to Calhoun. Hit on the ground to second. Torres throws to first. In time. Ball game over. Corey Kluber has pitched a no-hitter. Corey Kluber came within one man of a perfect game. He pitches a no-hitter, and the Yankees are delirious on the field, celebrating with Corey Kluber in the middle.
And they are jumping all over him, and Corey Kluber is all over Higashioka. Water bottles, they're pouring water on everybody, hugs all around.
I think it's all kinds of emotions. I mean, I think it's excitement, probably some relief, too, that it's over with. But I mean, Higgy was unbelievable back there tonight. I think kept him off balance pretty much the entire game. I made a couple pitches that probably weren't where we wanted them, and we were fortunate enough that they hit them right at some people.
Yankees pitcher Corey Kluber threw another no-hitter, the 6th in the MLB season this whole season. Now listen, Mike, does this give credence to the thing that we were saying the other day, that the offense in the MLB is just absolutely horrible right now?
Yes. And again, I'm happy for Corey Kluber. I believe that was his first no-hitter. He went to Stetson, so we claim him as our own. He's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. What's his nickname? Klubot, because he's like a robot out there. Yeah, I mean, Klubot is unbelievable. Good for him. But the second no-hitter in as many nights, that hasn't happened since 1969. We talked yesterday about Tigers right-hander Spencer Turnbull throwing a no-no on Tuesday night. So, again, this is unbelievable. 6 no-hitters so far this season. Offensive numbers in Major League Baseball are at historic lows this year when you look at batting averages, strikeouts, stats like that. The last time they were this low, 1968. And I know you guys weren't even alive in 1968. But when that happened in 1968, when they had abysmal offensive numbers, guess what? They lowered the pitcher's mound. They're going to have to do something here because every other sport's trying to increase offense. Baseball offense is going down. Maybe time to legalize steroids again, huh, guys?
Greg Anderson is the new strength and conditioning coordinator for the entire Major League Baseball.
I know in all of those different avenues, all those different values and principles that we're trying to instill here in Philly, no one is above that. Everybody got to go to work, So for me, rent is due every day. It's always been that way for me. Always been a get better mentality every day, grow every day, be a better leader every day, be a better quarterback every day. And when that rent's due, I don't plan on missing no payments.
That's right. Jalen Hurts discussing, battling for that QB spot in Philly, Adam.
I read a quote this morning that says, Jalen Hurts says he's not above competing for the quarterback position. Nick Saban's like, huh? I said, what? What did he say? Hold on, wait, what? What else are you going to say? Of course you're going to compete because you can't. There's no such thing as the transfer portal in the NFL, okay? So, you're forced to compete at this point. So best of luck to him. I love his story. And he played well enough when he got the opportunity last season. Let's see if he can continue to improve. And I like what he says. I'm going to be here when the rent's due. I don't plan on missing any payments.
Yes, sir.
I like him.
Yeah. I don't know where he lives, but he just said the rent's due every day. My rent's due once a month. Okay. Yeah. So he must live in a really nice place if you have to pay the rent every day. Wow.
Listen, with my credit history, I mean, that's probably what my renters probably should have done. Like every day, buddy, every single day. We got to just make sure.
Sound off. That's a sound off for today, ladies and gentlemen, which means that's right, folks. Another round of Monkeys tickets going down Sunday, October 10th.
Hey, where the Monkeys?
Sing it, Mike. That's right. Now give us a call right now, 407-916-8255. We're trying to get these tickets. Once again, 407-916-8255 to go see the Monkeys. October 10th at the Hard Rock Live. Mike, let them know what they have to look forward to.
You know what? Here's what you have to look forward to. I'll figure it out during the break, but it's going to be good. That's next.
This is
The game.
The 2-2 again. Breaking ball. This one lifted toward left. Back at it goes Hayes to the wall. It's over his head and off the wall. Choi around third. He will score. Here's a Rosarena pulling in the second with a stand-up RBI double. And the Rays now lead it by a score of 9-6.
My Rays getting it done last night. Beat the Orioles 9-7. Looking at the AL East standings right now. Oh, look who's sinking back down to the bottom of the standings. Well, why, it's the New York Yankees in fourth place and the Rays back up in second place. How about that, Kelly Velez? Although the Yankees still only 1.5 games behind the leading Red Sox, so it's a bunched up division. You got the Red Sox at the top, the Rays a game behind, the Blue Jays and the Yankees 1.5 games behind. So there's your baseball standing. Speaking of baseball, we have David on line one. He wanted to talk about our discussion about all the no-hitters in Major League Baseball and how the offensive numbers are weighed down this year. What do you got, David?
Well, good morning, team and guys. And I've noticed this. I've been involved in Little League Baseball for 30 years here in Central Florida. Last year was the first year we didn't get to go to the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. That tells you how much we are passionate about baseball. But what they've done this year, and it's the same thing that's happening in Little League. Everybody's trying to swing the bat up, to try to go the distance. With the home run numbers, but so what they've done, and I think it's the Pacific Coast League. It's a major league on the Northeast Coast. They have moved the mound back 1 foot. So instead of it being pitched at 60 foot 6 inches in major leagues, they've moved it back 1 foot to 61 feet 6 inches, because they did some study to see how fast a player can react to a ball coming at X speed, blah blah blah, and they're trying to see if they can get the numbers up. So it's an interesting concept to see if the ball, a batter can now see the ball a little more time and get the numbers up. But that's
we appreciate the call. Yeah. So again, I don't know if they will adopt that in Major League Baseball, but I told you last time the numbers were this low in Major League Baseball in 1968, they lowered the mound. So again, maybe baseball will move the mound back a foot. To what is it? 61 feet 6 inches instead of 60 feet 6 inches, which is where the mound has been forever, I guess. Is the mound?
Yeah. It's 60 feet 6 inches is the distance between the mound and home plate. But I hate this kind of stuff. Like, our numbers aren't good, so let's penalize the defensive team or the team that is,
Well, don't they do that in football all the time?
They do it all the time. Yeah, no, they do it all the time. So how about this? Let's implement a new rule in baseball. If the pitch comes in at over 90 miles an hour, it's automatic ball. How about that? How about that? I mean, so you got to throw it under 90 miles an hour. Anything, and if it moves more than 4 inches, okay? Like you're allowed 3 inches on your breaking ball, not 6 inches. So don't throw some nasty slider or some nasty cutter. You got to throw something straight. Matter of fact, why don't we just, instead of Major League Baseball, we just replace Major League Baseball with underhand pitching, okay? I mean, turn it into something. The ball's real big. The ball's real big, so you can't miss that. Can't miss that. And it's being pitched underhand. Can't miss that.
I'm with you. I don't like change, especially like football. Again, football is different than baseball. In baseball, the traditions they mean so much. I mean, the mound has always been 60 foot 6 inches from home plate. In baseball, they hallow their records more than any other sport. So I would be against this in Major League Baseball. I would be.
How about instead of 9 players on the field, we go to 8? And so it creates more holes. And now, where do we stop? I mean, where does it end, Mike? Where does it end? How about this? Teach the hitters to be better hitters. How about that?
Don't swing. How about not swinging for the fences on every swing? How about just trying to make contact? Like used to be. Remember when you played Little League Baseball back in the day? What did they tell you? Yeah. Swing level and run like the devil. All right?
Oh, I love
That's what they need to go back to. Swing level and run like the devil.
Where have those days gone?
Huh?
Where have those days gone?
Remember that?
I
you
never
guys
played
ever
baseball.
say that?
I never played baseball growing up.
We also used to go, we want a pitcher, not an underwear snitcher. Yeah.
How about have the guy from center field pitch? Then the hitter gets a chance to see it for about 8 seconds on its way in.
Yeah, that didn't work too well for the White Sox. Actually, it did work well for the White Sox. Tony La Russa didn't like it. Real quick, I want to get to this story, all right? By the way, we were talking about bad tippers in sports earlier, and Tiger Woods' name came up. One of our favorite texters texted in, Azalea Park Bob, who texted in, Tiger was very generous to the Perkins waitresses. He gave them more than the tip. What? Oh, did he really text that in? Oh, my God.
Had to hit him with 3 sounds. That's what I'm talking
Azalea
about.
Park Bob is the guy who says the thing we were all thinking.
All right, so I want to get into this Steve Clifford. Does he deserve a contract extension with the Magic? Adam and I heard completely different things from Jeff Weltman when I asked him the question yesterday about Steve Clifford's extension. We'll get into that coming up, but Brandon Kravitz asked Jeff Weltman a question yesterday too, and I want you to try to decipher what Weltman is telling Kravitz. Listen to Kravitz's question.
Hey, Jeff, it's been a few years since this team has had the cap space to really be aggressive in free agency. You've spent a lot of your time here re-signing the guys that were already on the roster. Do you plan to be aggressive in free agency this year?
Well, I think it's all tied together. Everything is like interconnected. So like, I like to know like how many draft picks we're going to have, what picks we're going to have before I'm able to kind of like get to like the end game of like where we look at in free agency. I'll say this though, one of the teams that we were discussing when we were having discussions about Vooch is a team that has multiple draft picks. And one of the things that they said was, we're not quite sure that our roster is ready to kind of push our chips to the middle of the table right now. And so I feel that part of this has to evolve a little bit, So look, if there becomes like an opportunity.
Stop it right there. Translation to Kravitz's question: no, right? Isn't that what he's saying?
I think what he said was true in the fact that he goes, well, we don't know if we're going to have 2 top 5, 6, 7 picks in the draft.
Yeah. I mean, they don't know if they're getting Chicago's pick yet because Chicago's pick is top 4 protected, but they'll probably get it. But I think the more telling thing he just said there was one of the teams they were trading with said, "Hey, we're not ready to trade for Vooch because we don't think we're ready to, again, push our chips into the middle of the table," which means we're not ready to win and compete for championships right now. I think that's what he's saying about the Magic. No, we're not going to be aggressive. We're not ready to push our chips in the middle of the table because it's going to be a couple of years before we're ready for that. I think that's what he was saying.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is okay. So let's see where we land with the ping pong balls. All right, and let's deal with that first, and maybe not this year, along with this influx of young talent that we could end up with 2 guys. But maybe the year after that, so maybe we save some of that money, and I don't know what the free agency class looks like this year in the NBA versus what it projects to be next year either. So they may have their eyes on a guy that may be coming available not this offseason, but the next offseason. I don't know because I have no idea who's available this offseason and who projects to be available next offseason. But I think he recognizes issue number 1 is we don't know what the draft is going to hold for us. We may have 2 top 6, draftees, including the number 1 pick potentially. So we got to deal with that financially, and then maybe a year with all the other guys coming back from injury. You're essentially going to have a team with 5 brand new players playing with each other next year.
Yeah, and again. I think it's pretty simple. They're not going after a big name aggressive. They're not going to be aggressive in free agency this year. And next year maybe.
Yeah.
But to me, it's probably 2 years from now.
This year is all about the youth movement, the young guys, the young guys coming in, and then Jonathan Isaac and Fultz coming back, and then see the growth of Hampton if you can get it, and Mo Bamba as well. And then next year is the year you say, I think we're a superstar away. Let's break the bank.
Yeah. All right, straight ahead. All right, so Weltman was also asked about Steve Clifford, and is he going to be the Magic's coach moving forward? Does he deserve a contract extension? Adam and I heard different things in his answer. We will get to that next on Open Mic.
96.9 The Game, FM, HD, online at 969thegame.com, on your phone.
put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by co-host Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and of course Kelly Velez, the man you, our Open Mic listeners, have nicknamed the Smooth Operator.
Yes, sir.
Together we are Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we call home right here in Central Florida. We have a spontaneous text question out there.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
And it's in honor of sports betting and being ratified by the state of Florida legislature yesterday. Sports betting may be coming to Florida as soon as October. We want a long shot sports bet that you would bet on in the next year. All right, give me a long shot sports bet. Text those in to 50857. Speaking of sports betting expert Matt Rabaltaski will join us from sportshandle.com. He'll join us at 8:15 to talk about Florida's we think it will be new legalized betting in the state of Florida. That will be at 8:15 this morning. So last segment, we were talking about Steve Clifford. And as I wrote in my column at the Orlando Sentinel, which you can read right now at orlandosentinel.com. Thank you. I think the Magic should give Coach Steve Clifford an extension. He has only a year remaining on his contract. You certainly don't want to go into this new rebuild with a lame duck coach. In fact, I asked Magic team president Jeff Weltman the question yesterday about a possible extension for Steve Clifford, and Jeff Weltman on a Zoom call with reporters didn't really want to answer it. Here's what he said.
Well, Mike, I'm sorry. The first part's going to be an easy answer. I won't discuss that publicly. I will not discuss contract matters with players or coaches or anything publicly. Team policy, I hope you understand, why that has to be the case. I can tell you that, Cliff and I had a nice talk, yesterday, but honestly, all of our guys, all of them, performance, players, coaches, the message is this: get out, go away. We're actually having our court varnished for the next week and a half. So
okay, that's good.
And whatnot. We
don't really want to know about the court being varnished, but thank you for the answer, Jeff. So he didn't want to answer the question, and to me, I understood that. Obviously, I would have liked for him to answer the question, but I understand that it's his policy not to publicly discuss contract matters until there's actually a contract that's been offered or until it's been signed. You're not going to just talk about contract terms and things of that. Here's what he did say, though, about Clifford and the coaching staff when WKMG's Jamie Say asked him his thoughts on the coaching staff's performance. In fact, if you listen to Weltman, he sounds almost apologetic about saddling Clifford with a rebuild in the middle of the season that was already in progress. Here's what he said.
I can't thank those guys enough, and I can't tell you what a good job I think they did. I have to say, when we were discussing these internally, when we were discussing these trades, and we had discussions everywhere across the board with every sort of agenda lined up, and as we always must. And one of the things that we discussed was it's not the right time to do this. These sorts of kind of like organizational shifts should not be done mid-season. It's not fair to the coaches. It's not fair to some of the players that remain, and it's not conducive to a real smooth transition to another phase of your operations. And so look, what do you do as a coach when all of a sudden your roster changes, your agendas change, your goals change? What can I say? They've done an amazing job. I think we see it.
Okay, there you go. All right, so what I heard there was Jeff Weltman saying, yeah, I'm not really going to discuss a contract extension, but I think these guys did a great job under trying circumstances that I myself helped create. I'm hearing, of course we're going to give Steve Clifford a contract extension. But Adam Reardon, you heard something differently there.
It's not what I heard, it's what I didn't hear. And nothing stopped him. Nothing was out there stopping him from saying, listen, Mike, we're not going to discuss financials and contracts, but we're really happy with the job that Steve Clifford's done here, and we hope that he's an Orlando Magic coach for the foreseeable future. Nothing was stopping. You said they don't do that in the NBA. Well,
it's not an NBA. That's what they do in college football with the ADs.
If he
You're a college football guy.
If he planned on keeping Steve Clifford, yesterday would have been a good day to start that trend, which is, hey, listen, we're working on it behind the scenes. You know what I mean? We hope to have it. We hope to have something done here shortly. Our plan is for Steve Clifford to lead this team into the next era of Magic basketball. None of that. It was, Mike, I'm not discussing contracts and
interesting.
We kind of felt bad because it's really unfair to saddle a coaching staff with a mid-season rebuild. But then again, life's not fair, Mike.
Wow. Wow. All right, what did you hear there, open mic listeners? Text us in 50857. Let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, FM 96.9 The Game, the home of Orlando City Soccer Club.
You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the blast brought to you by Frank A Services. When you have a plumbing or electrical problem, you need help now. Go to frankaservices.com, starting it all off with the open mic thought-provoking daily poll. Do you agree with Bianchi's Orlando Sentinel column stating that Orlando Magic should give Coach Steve Clifford a contract extension? We're talking about it right now, Mike. Reiterate.
Well, yes, I think they should give Steve Clifford a contract extension. I absolutely think he's the right guy to lead the Magic through these uncertain times with this untested roster. He's a teacher, an excellent teacher. In fact, he was a high school special ed teacher at one time. He's known as a developer of talent. He holds young players accountable. He demands excellence and a standard of play. So absolutely, not only do I think he deserves a contract extension, I think that you're going to have to give Jeff Weltman and John Hammond a contract extension as well. They have 1 year left on their deals as well. And if you're going to trust them to, trade Nikola Vucevic and conduct this important draft coming up, well, you better trust them to see it through. So I'm saying Clifford, Weltman, and Hammond deserve a contract extension.
I have a lot of respect for Steve Clifford. And I think
here it comes. Yes.
Yeah. Right. I think he's really good at coaching the kind of team that he had in Orlando here over the last few years. But if the goal is to get to that next level, I don't know that he's the guy. And maybe there's guys.
You don't know that you don't know that he isn't the guy either.
Well, I mean, what's the highest any of a Steve Clifford team has ever been seeded in the NBA playoffs?
Probably 7. I don't know what the 7 or
seven,
maybe I don't know what the Hornets were.
He's been with a couple different franchises. I mean, that's a pretty decent sample size, Mike. And I'm not talking about wanting to be the 7th seed in the East.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, 77% of our audience said yes, they do agree that he deserves a contract extension. Open mic supplemental poll number 1. Among the Lakers, Yankees, Cowboys, and Duke, which is the most hated team in all of sports? Once again, that's the Lakers, Yankees, Cowboys, and Duke.
I don't think there's any question it's the Lakers. No question in my mind. When you combine the longtime Lakers hate that a lot of mid-market NBA fans have for the Lakers, and then you combine that with the LeBron hate out there. People have disliked LeBron ever since the decision. A lot of people dislike LeBron because of his political stances. All of that. His stance with China about, last season. So I think the Lakers are by far the most hated franchise in all of sports. I hate the Lakers, and again, I like LeBron, but I hate the Lakers. But when you combine everything, I think most sports fans hate the Lakers more than any other franchise.
Yeah, I think Mike's right. Right now, it's the Lakers. I think historically speaking, though, I mean, unless you're from New York, and only probably 68 to 70% of New Yorkers love the Yankees. Everybody else hates them.
Now, actually, with 47% of the vote, our audience says the Yankees are the most hated. In second was the Cowboys with 26%.
Really?
That's right. Lakers was only 17%. Open mic supplemental poll number 2, with sports betting being ratified Wednesday by Florida's legislature. Will you bet on sports starting in October if it's legal? Yes, sir, or nope, I won't?
Well, I bet every day. It's called the stock market, and I'm losing my ass right now. So I'm gonna go. I probably won't bet on sports. I'm still a newspaper columnist, and yeah, I'm a newspaper columnist, and the teams I would want to bet on would be the teams that I cover. Wow. I think that could cloud your coverage.
Little conflict of interest, Mike?
Absolutely. I think it would be a conflict of interest. If I bet on the Bucks to win the Super Bowl and I bet big money and they ended up losing, maybe that would taint maybe I'd want to be a little harsher on the Bucks than I normally would. Or if they win me a bunch of money, maybe I'm going to praise them more effusively than I would. So I'm going to go, no, I won't bet on sports.
Oh, yes. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean,
you already bet on sports.
Well, I haven't bet on sports in a long time, but if it was like available, I'm there. I'm gonna, instead of like a $5 scratch off, now I can get a $5 bet in on tonight's game. Yeah, sure, I want to do that.
Now this is a close one, y'all. With 52% of the vote, they say yes, sir. So it's very close, very close. Open mic supplemental poll number 3, with the Southeastern Conference infusing the Gators and each of the league's other 13 members with an extra $23 million in cash to offset massive financial losses sustained during the COVID-19 pandemic. How jealous are other leagues of the SEC? Super jealous, mildly jealous, not jealous at all.
Super jealous. Of course they're super jealous. I mean, not only does the SEC have the most money to give to its teams, as it showed yesterday, all right, they have the best players, they have the best coaches, they have the best fans, they have the best draft picks, they have the best recruiting classes. Yes, every team in the country would love to be in the SEC. All things being equal, if they could leave their conference and again, get the amount of money that current SEC teams get, they would leave their conferences in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, there's really only one answer to this. Somebody gets $23 million and you don't? Yeah, you're jealous. You'd love to have the $23 million. I was thinking, what the American Athletic Conference teams, what do they get from their TV contracts? Like $5 million a year, something like that, right?
$5 million. It was just announced the other day that UCF is getting $5 million, but that was pre-pandemic. We won't know post-pandemic until next year what the amount is.
So the SEC is hooking up their member institutions with 4.5 years worth of American Athletic Conference money,
and that's just extra. That's just extra, right? That's on top of what the $50 million they normally get. So yeah, $75 million they're getting this year. Yeah.
With 76% of the vote, super jealous, of course, wins the vote. Open mic supplemental poll number 4, with Stetson alum Corey Kluber of the Yankees throwing the Major League 6 no-hitter this season, and second in 2 nights. Are no-nos losing their luster? Yes or no?
Yes. How can they not? You've had 2 no-hitters in 2 nights. You've had 6 this season. Hell, you've actually had 7 this season. Wasn't there a 7-inning no-hitter that didn't officially count?
Yep.
Yeah, so actually you've had 7 no-hitters this year. And again, baseball offensive numbers are abysmally low, historically low. So yes, it's ho hum, another no-hitter, another day, another no-hitter.
Adam?
No, I think that what it is we've taught kids to swing for the fences now. I say kids, but the analytics over the last few years have been that everybody play for the long ball, and now you got pitchers that I think that everybody now in the lineup is swinging for the fence, and so some of these numbers make a little bit of sense to me. I'm not interested in changing Major League Baseball though to accommodate this dip in offense. Teach the offensive guys to be better offensively. Don't penalize the defensive guys.
That's right. With this is another close one. 51% of the vote, yes, wins that one. Very, very close.
You need to teach the offensive guys what we were taught in Little League Baseball. Swing level and run like the devil. I told you that earlier.
There it is.
That's what they need to do. Go back to that.
Nobody needs managers or coaches anymore. We just need dads out there. Yeah.
The dad coaches.
Yeah.
Come on, Bobby, swing level and run like the devil.
Open mic, would you rather, Paul? Would you rather witness a volcano erupting or a meteor hitting the earth?
From a distance, both of these, right?
Yes,
From a distance, obviously. I mean, if you're right next to the volcano, you're going to get molten magma all over you. You're going to be buried in molten magma. I'm going to go, well, the meteor hitting the earth would be cool at the beginning because you'd see the falling star, which is what a meteor is. You'd see that, but then when it gets closer to you, it just turns into a big rock hitting the earth. I would much rather see a volcano erupting.
Yeah, a meteor could hit the earth anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. I figure like a volcano, more times than not, is in a pretty cool place. I think Hawaii. So that means I would be in Hawaii to witness this volcano, and could use a nice little vacation in Hawaii. Hey, honey, look at that, volcano.
I like that.
That's great.
With 76% of the vote, a volcano erupting 1,000% wins that one. Now, that's The Blast, brought to you by Frank A. Services. A live operator is waiting for you, and a licensed plumber is ready to help today with the solution to your problem fast, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Frank Gay way. FrankGayServices.com.
Hey, honey, you got volcano ash all over your new dress in Hawaii. Yeah. All right, straight ahead, sports betting expert will join us next on Open Mic to talk about the new law. Well, not a law, but soon-to-be law that was ratified yesterday by our state legislature. That is next on Open Mic.
Now.
Signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we are lifting our ban on Tebow talk moving forward.
Here we go, folks.
Yeah, a big story in the state of Florida yesterday. Sports betting could soon be legal right here in the state as the legislature yesterday ratified a landmark. Again, this is a landmark 30-year gambling deal between Governor Ron DeSantis and the Seminole tribe of the state of Florida. And again, the Seminole tribe has all sorts of power in this new deal. They essentially control sports gambling in the state of Florida. Now, the agreement still needs federal approval. Also, there's going to be lawsuits probably from groups who are opposed to gambling expansion in the state of Florida. Let's bring in sports betting guru Matt Rabaltowski of sportshandle.com. You can check out that website for all your coverage of this major sports story. You can also find Matt on Twitter at Matt Rabaltowski. Matt, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Matt. First of all, how does the Florida legislation sort of differ from all the other states that have legalized sports betting because of the Seminole tribe essentially controls everything?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway is what you mentioned before. The Seminole tribe, in essence, will have a monopoly on sports betting if all those legal challenges don't overturn the compact. Your description of all the legal issues at play really hit the nail on the head. In most other states, they run an open market where dozens of sports book operators can operate in the state. Companies such as DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM. It doesn't look like that'll happen here. Here, Florida will run a hub and spoke model where the Seminoles will run the infrastructure of sports betting. The pari-mutuels like Gulfstream Park and Tampa Bay Downs, they could offer it as what's known as a skin, but they will have to make revenue sharing payments back to the Seminoles. So in the form that was approved yesterday, the Seminoles will control a vast proportion of sports betting in Florida.
Is that why companies like DraftKings were lobbying against that, because they're being cut out of the deal, essentially?
Absolutely, 100%. Even during this special session over the last 3 days, Jim Allen, the CEO of Seminole Gaming, he noted that he has already had talks with DraftKings and FanDuel and a couple others. Your listeners are probably really familiar with Barstool Sports and Dave Portnoy. So, yeah, he said he met with those type of companies, but still under the compact that was passed yesterday, there's a provision that says that all mobile sports betting has to go on the Seminoles network or the brand that the Seminoles run, and that's not favorable to the DraftKings of the world. There are tech issues there if the technology framework that DraftKings has doesn't sync with the one that the Seminoles plan on implementing. So there are major issues that have to be ironed out there. And when a number of political leaders said yesterday that they expect legal challenges to occur, that's what I think they were referring to there.
Talking to Matt Rabaltowski of sportshandle.com. Matt, so I'm confused about the mobile betting. So by your understanding, there will, like, I can get on my phone and make a bet if this all passes, but it'll just be through the Seminole Tribes software and not DraftKings or another. But you'll still be able to mobile bet, right?
Exactly. I have to tell you, Mike, that I've been covering this for 4 years, and the last few months I covered the legalization of mobile sports betting in New York, and New York was viewed as a complex bill, and there are analysts in the gambling industry that said what Florida did. They took the New York deal, they threw it in a blender, and they scrambled it even more.
Wow.
That's how complex it is. And so as the compact is written, the Seminoles can offer mobile sports betting, but it's through mobile servers or computer servers that are located inside the tribal casinos. And so this deal has to be passed on the federal level by the Department of the Interior. And there are indications based on prior court decisions. There was a Supreme Court decision in 2014 that said that all gaming activity that takes place involving a tribal casino has to occur on Indian lands. Mm-hmm. The case is Michigan versus Bay Mills the Bay Mills Indian community. So a number of experts, when they interpret that language, they feel that provision on mobile sports betting will be struck down, and if that happens, mobile sports betting will not be allowed in Florida, at least on a temporary basis.
Well, if that's the case, what good is this bill? Isn't that the most? For sports fans, isn't that the most important thing? We can go to casinos anywhere. Isn't the sports betting the most important thing for sports fans? Yeah, well, it's like everyone says in journalism, you have to follow the money, and you have to remember that the Seminoles they were making payments of $350 million a year to the state, and they ceased making those payments in 2019, and there was a big push in Tallahassee to get this compact ratified because it's going to bring $2.5 billion to the state over the next 5 years. So that was really the impetus for getting the compact ratified yesterday. If mobile sports betting gets invalidated, there are other ways to bring sports betting to the state. There could be a referendum floated on election day in 2022, and it'll let voters decide if they want to bring sports betting to Florida. And then under that scenario, then the DraftKings and the FanDuels could enter the market. But even though the big headline is that the compact was ratified and sports betting was legalized yesterday, I think sports fans really have to pump the brakes a little bit and realize that this is a long process and there are still many hurdles that need to be overcome. All right, Matt, since we're talking betting and sports betting and you're an expert at this, all right, so give me odds on October 15th if I will be able to make a sports bet legally in the state of Florida.
I'd say it's about 50-50 right now. So the first step, as I mentioned before, is that on the federal level, the Department of the Interior has to approve the compact. And so they have 45 days after Governor DeSantis signs it to make an up or down vote. So that's the first part. And then if there are legal challenges that are filed, either on the state or the federal level, a court could file an injunction preventing sports betting from being launched on October 15th. So, yeah, that makes sense, about 50-50 that there will be sports betting then.
Matt, we so appreciate your information and insight on this topic. You can check out Matt's coverage and all the coverage of this at sportshandle.com. Matt, we appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
There you have it. Straight ahead.